What have you been waiting for? Why haven't you started your business already? You've been listening to these podcast episodes for, 100 episodes almost. And some of you aren't using it just as a form of sleep therapy, but you still haven't done anything. Could this be failure to launch? We're going to talk about some of the excuses you have told yourself and how to move past them, and why now is the very best time for you to start your own woodworking business. Hi, my name's Roger Kugler. This is Working at Woodworking Podcast. I'm here to help you, the skilled amateur, the skilled weekend warrior, the person who's been doing this for a while, and yeah, you can build a bookcase, you can repair a rocking chair, and now you just want to make some money at this. Could I do this maybe full time? Maybe you should start out part-time first and kind of test the waters, so to speak. I'm here to help you with this, and in this episode, we're going to tackle a big problem. Okay, I'll say it right out front. Now is the very best time for you to start your business. I know. Why do I say this? Well, now is now. Now is not tomorrow, nor is it yesterday, or some fictional time in the future. What are you waiting for? Oh, here come the excuses. Number one, the economy is so bad right now. Inflation is just raging. Everything is so expensive. Perfect! Wonderful! This is the perfect time to start a business when the economy is so bad. In a bad economy, people don't want to buy new expensive things. They fix what they have. They can't afford a $10,000 walnut slab table with a river epoxy pour, but they can afford a nice $2,000 red oak farm table with a unique carving that you added that took you like 15 minutes to do. So don't be scared of poor economies. And whether this is a poor economy now is just kind of depends where you're sitting. But even in a poor economy, things still move. And this could be a great opportunity for you. Oh, I know. You're the person under item number 2. The economy is so good right now. Have you been watching the Dow? Gold is like stupid, crazy high. No one is getting their old furniture repaired. They all want $10,000 walnut slab river tables. Okay. Well, maybe that means that you need to break out the epoxy pour handbook and learn how to do this. You might have to tell Mrs. Smith that you can't get to her rocking chair right now because you've been working on this total restoration of a huge dining hall table and its 12 matching chairs. This is going to take months. So in poor economies, there's still rich people. In the Great Depression, the one in the 1930s, not the truly Great Depression in the 1890s, unemployment numbers range between 10 and 30%. Depends on which persuasion you look at. But that means that there were still 70 to 90% of the people employed. And guess what? There are some people who live wonderful lives and they don't work. They're called retired people, or they're called independently wealthy people. And they have money. And even in a poor economy, they want to spend money. So don't psych yourself out that the economy's so bad you can't succeed. You're the only one holding yourself back with that type of talk. In great economies, there's a whole bunch of rich people. People who have disposable income, and they want to spend it on something. Maybe they've had a lifelong dream of owning this super fancy bird's eye maple china cabinet with just beautiful things in it. Bingo, there you go. I mean, that's probably what, $10,000, $15,000 project? Yeah, you can do this. Yeah, and there's still people who want to get their rocking chair repaired. Mrs. Smith really could care less about the economy because she is comfortably retired, sitting on a nice nest egg. The only thing she wants is her rocking chair fixed. So in good economies or poor economies, people still need things. There's a want, there's a need, and if you can fulfill that want or need, you can make money. In a great economy, there might be more wants, and in a poor economy, there might be more needs. But as long as those two things exist, you can provide a service and help people out and make some money while you're doing it. Okay, now here's another excuse that I've heard. In fact, I've heard this on some coaching calls. I think this is item number 5 if you're keeping track. I'm waiting until I retire. So what? Start now. Just because you're still punching the time clock or running your company as CEO, that doesn't mean that you can't do anything on starting your woodworking business. You've heard me talk about all the stuff that you need to do that's not woodworking related to start a small woodworking business. You have to come up with a name of your business. You have to set up bank accounts. I really encourage you to set up a web page. And, it doesn't need to go live when you get that set up. It's going to take more time than you think it's going to take. Or you could build some anticipation. Coming soon. Charlottesville furniture repair. Put a little box in there that they could, sign up for a newsletter, get their email address. Boom. You've already started your marketing campaign. You have tools that you may need to acquire. You have electrical needs in your shop you might have to fix before you start. There's lumber. There's other products that you're going to need. You need to figure out what you're going to do. Are you going to sell products? Are you going to provide service? What are you going to offer? There's so much you can do before you retire. So, what are you waiting for? Number 6, I'm waiting until I get a better place. Yeah, I kind of see this. If you're living in an apartment, this could be a real challenge. So I ask you, when are you getting a better place? What is your plan to get a better place? Are you going to swap a condo for a condominium that you're still literally in the same position? Or are you looking for a single family dwelling, maybe one with a 2-car garage? You might have to move further out of town to find something in today's prices, but what's your plan? How are you going to do this? And guess what? There's a thing called renting, where you can take advantage of another person's capital asset with a small monetary exchange every month. That could be a way of doing it. Even if you are living in an apartment, that doesn't mean you can't do woodworking. I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy. In the apartment that you live or the condo that you live, can you use power tools? Now, I know routers are really loud. From personal experience here. Yeah, that was a difficult meeting with the landlord. But what about a hand tool? Nope, they never even know you're there. Could you use a small lathe, possibly? And the thing with a lot of tools, it's not the high-frequency sound that will get you busted. It's the low-frequency sound. The car that drives down the street with the big, boom woofers in there that you can feel. That's what is going to disturb people like 10 apartments away. So this just means you need to do some low frequency sound isolation. There are materials out there that you could set a small lathe on that will absorb a lot of that sound. I mean, come on, we can make a nuclear reactor sound like a Prius at 400 yards. So you can do this. What about chip carving? Chip carving is a talent. I almost said it's easy. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's a talent. It's something you need to work at. But it doesn't take 10,000 square foot factory building. It's something you can do on your kitchen table, sitting in an easy chair on your lap. We've talked about chip carving before. Wayne Barton is the person you need to do some research on. You can make beautiful chip carved items out of wood and sell those on Etsy. Boom! You have a woodworking business. In addition to maybe renting a space, there's also these things called maker spaces. Typically, most often found in larger towns, cities, but it's someplace where they have tools. And for usually a low monthly fee, you can go in and use those tools. I've known people who use their makerspace as their workshop, and they sell products that they make in the makerspace. This doesn't have to be rocket science. You don't need that 10,000 square foot shop to do this. Are you going to get rich? Nah, probably not. At least not right away. But then again, you're just looking for your first sale. Number 7. I need better skills. Yeah, so we all do. What are you doing about it? Are you taking classes? Attending trade shows? Maybe seeking out a mentor? Are you reading books, magazines? Are you watching YouTube? Ooh, well, yeah. Careful there. If you are just starting out, don't beat yourself up if you can't build a mahogany Philadelphia highboy with French bull inlay. I can't either. Well, I could if I lived that long. I guarantee I wouldn't make any money doing it. So you don't need to be the world's greatest woodworker to do this. None of us are. But you do need a plan to acquire more skills. And I think books is a wonderful way of doing that. So I did a little research for you. I found goodreads.com. Link in the show notes. 50 most popular woodworking books. It's a great website. It's a website for book lovers. And virtually any subject, they compile a list of what other people read. People share their ideas about different books. It's a wonderful way of blowing 2.5 hours on a workday afternoon. Not that I do that. So go through there, pick out some books. Some of these you can probably find at the local library. And I also came across a video by Rob Cosman from the Great White North, his 9 favorite woodworking books. Very interesting. A lot of what he has, I rely on all the time. I found a couple on there that I didn't know about. I'm going to have to track those down. Those are going to be good reads. Links in the show notes below. We all need better skills. Woodworkers are always learning. I don't think you could know everything about woodworking in a lifetime. Don't think it's possible. And if this is something that you think you can learn a certain amount and get by with the rest of your life and not have to worry about it, nope, wrong profession. Decades ago, in the 90s, I had an opportunity to kind of go into the internet technology field, computer field, and I had a mentor. And I asked him one day, what is the biggest challenge you have being an IT professional? And he said the constant learning. Now, this was the early 90s. Things were ramping up like daily. Something new was coming out. And he said he has to actually work at keeping current with new things. People are coming out with new programming languages. Some of them are good. Some of them suck. And he said, you just really have to work at it to stay current and stay competitive in the field. And I kind of decided that I didn't want to do that. So I chose something that was less rigorous as far as skills, like woodworking. Oh man, was I dumb. I could have made so much money if I'd have stayed with IT. But no, I'm going to choose woodworking, where I still spend just about as much time staying up on current things, and more importantly, learning about old things. Let's face it, woodworking's been around a lot longer than computers have. There is so much that we have forgotten how to do that if you can rediscover those can be real gems. Number 8, for those of you who are keeping track at home, I need to graduate first. Well, good for you. Excellent. You, do realize that you're sitting in a marketer's wet dream, right? Yeah, you're associated with a institution of higher learning, maybe a big college, maybe a small college. You are surrounded by customers. Now, maybe you're not going to sell them a walnut slab river table, but I bet you can do some simple house repairs. I bet you can hang a picture. No kidding. I literally was hired one time to hang some pictures for a lawyer. Nope, could not operate a hammer. Didn't even own a hammer. Didn't know which end of a hammer to hold. But they apparently were a pretty good lawyer because they could afford to hire me to come over and hang a picture. And of course, once you're there and you get done hanging the picture for them, they say, oh, could you take a look at this? And that's another job. And I have this over here. Do you have any skill with XYZ? There's another job. I mean, you could go over and hang a picture and be there for 3 weeks. And if you're in that type of setting, you're in a college environment, remember, people hire people they think they can trust, not necessarily for your skill level. Especially if you're a young man, young lady, you may not have, broad skills to do everything, but if you have a willingness to learn and you have basic competency, you know which end of a hammer to use, these folks are educators. They're used to having people fail and try again and then succeed. And so they're, in my personal experience, have found them to be just as willing to allow you to fail on some part of their home. And that didn't work. So you figure out something else and pretty soon it works and you've gained skills and they're rather proud of themselves for allowing you that opportunity. Now I'll tell you, here's the secret sauce. I know this is not woodworking, but if you're in that type of situation, learn to repair drywall. I know this sounds totally stupid. Why do I say that? Well, number one, people are scared of drywall. They don't know what it is. They don't know how it works. They don't know how to fix it. Number two, people who do know how to repair drywall don't want to come to your piddly little job where somebody punched a hole through the wall when they got stupid drunk one night. They don't have time for that. But if you do, especially when you catch them, just before they're going to have a lease inspection. Yeah, you can pretty much charge whatever you want to charge. How do you learn to do drywall? Well, there is YouTube. You can also go to a commercial drywall supplier. This is someone who sells drywall products to professional drywallers. Walk in and say, I want to learn how to do this. Some of these guys will take you into the back show you a piece of broken drywall, and then show you how to fix it. Some of them might know somebody who wouldn't mind teaching someone how to do this. Once you know how to repair drywall, and in 5 years you're installing custom bookcase that you need to cut out a little piece of drywall to make this fit, you know how to do that. And you know how to fix their drywall that they already have that's damaged just to make your job look so much better. Just because you have skills that you don't use every day doesn't mean you will never use those skills. Most skills don't go away. You still have that. So don't be afraid of acquiring new skills. In fact, speaking of IT and drywall, I had a boss in a former career who he was in school during the 70s. This is when computer programming was taking off in the colleges and universities. And this is what he wanted to do with his life. And he was a computer science major. And he worked through, to make money, to pay for college. He knew how to fix drywall. I guess his dad or an uncle had taught him. So he started doing little drywall jobs, on the weekends, sometimes on the evenings. He was actually making some decent money doing this, enough to put himself through school and pay his rent and his food, and he didn't have to worry about working in a food industry. He got out of school and couldn't find a job in computers. He says he looked and he looked, he searched, he talked to people, and he got so desperate, he actually asked one company if he could come in and just sweep the floors around the computers because he just wanted, to get into the computers. Now, I don't know anything else, about the situation, but he never did get a job in computers. Guess what he did? He started a drywall company, and his drywall company was hugely successful. He is one of the very wealthy people that I talked about earlier that doesn't really pay that much attention to the economy because he's independently wealthy. Number 9. I hear this one more often than I wish I did. I want it to be perfect. My business plan. I don't want to do something half beep. Friend, it's never going to be perfect. Just admit it. You're not going to do this. If you're waiting for your business plan to be perfect, it never will be. Nope. You're just kind of using that as an excuse for not doing this. You could work on your business plan for 3 years, and you are just wasting your time. Do you need a business plan? Yeah, you need some idea of how this is going to come together. Does it need to be a formal business plan? Where you can buy a kit, you can buy a program, you can buy a course on how to write a business plan. Yeah, if you were trying to find a venture capitalist that will loan you $50 million to start a high-tech security firm, yeah, maybe, but you're not doing that. You're just trying to go from amateur woodworker to professional woodworker part-time in my garage. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just got off a phone call with a gentleman who wanted me to do some canoe work, and I told him, not this year. Just not going to happen. I did refer him to somebody who also works out of their garage, and hopefully he has a little more time available than I do. So, perfect business plan? No. You don't really need it. People may have told you that you need it. You need to have a full marketing plan, full finance plan. Yeah, all that's wonderful, but come on. You're not Rockefeller. You don't need to make this more complicated than it needs to be. Okay, last one. You live in an apartment and you don't have a car. Yeah, this could be a little bit of a problem. It sounds more like an excuse to me, because if you got into chip carving, you could just order wood already pre-milled to the exact shape and size that you need. So it's not like you're having to travel. You could carry your stuff to the post office to ship it out. But in today's society, a car, or at least access to a car, is important. But you don't need a Ford F-150 diesel truck to do this. A car with roof racks works perfectly fine. You'd be amazed the type of work that you can do with just a simple car. Hey, I started out with a Honda Civic wagon with a pair of Yakima racks on them. I have stories after stories of what I've carried on top of that thing. Some things I probably shouldn't have carried, but I did anyway. You know, I would suggest that you invest in a good set of roof racks, either Yakima or Thule, or you could go redneck and just bolt 2 2x4s onto the roof. Don't worry about the leaks. That works. Or you could do something like a sculptural work of art that shows off your talents. You could make one of the most unique wood roof racks ever created. Yeah, that's an idea. So to wrap this up, where do you fit in this? Which excuse have you been using for not starting your woodworking business? And, you know, it just may come down to a decision of not starting a woodworking business ever, or maybe this year, I'm not going to do that. I need to do this, and this other thing first. Then I can start thinking about a woodworking business. Hey, that sounds like a plan to me. And I think that's my biggest challenge to you, is have a plan. Because if you just kind of mimbly-pimbly, oh yeah, it would be so nice to be a professional woodworker. Yeah, that's never going to happen. If you don't have a plan, it's not going to happen. You can plan to have a woodworking business in 2 years, and you can start working on that plan, working towards that plan, gaining some education, gaining some skills, gaining some tools, gaining some marketing knowledge, expertise, working on a website. These things do take time. They don't have to be done tomorrow, but you need to be moving forward one way or the other. So all the best luck in doing this. And of course, if you're stuck or you're not exactly sure which way to go, this would be a good time for a commercial from Working at Woodworking Podcast. Are you stuck? Are you not sure which way to go with your dreams of starting a woodworking business? Well, this is your lucky day. You can set up a personal private consultation with me, and I can help you work through the issues that is keeping you from fulfilling your dreams for a low, low price. For more information, check out my website at www.workingatwoodworking.com. Now, back to our regular show. Missed jobs? I had a lady email me. She's starting a small business and she needs some turned wooden handles. They're about, 2 inches in diameter, 9.5 inches long, I think. There's about 5 beads, and a big flat. She's local. I just had to, very politely thank her for contacting me, but declining that I would be able to help her on this. If you do have a lathe, if you know how to turn, you can make some money at this. Maybe not billions of dollars, but there are people who need things turned, and lathe is kind of a special skill set that I have found other craftsmen would be happy to pay you to do that for them, because they just don't want to make that investment, both time and money, and really the time it takes to develop some decent skills with a lathe. Recommendations for this episode, Woodworking Books on Goodreads.com. link in the show notes, and also our friend Rob Cosman. I've got a link in there for his wonderful video on 9 of his favorite woodworking books. Special thanks to listeners in Greenbelt, Maryland, U.S., and Swansea, Wales, part of the UK, and our one listener in Japan. I appreciate it so much. If you'd like to support the show, you can always buy me a coffee or donate directly on the website. Until next episode, happy woodworking.